Today on the table, we have a Smith & Wesson Victory model. So we'll go over some history on this. It is a 6-shot 38 special, as you can see here, not loaded. They have a V prefix. Try to get a good view. There we go. There's the V right there. So right before the serial number, there's a V, so that's their distinction. They've had a couple, so what they are is they're basically the military and police model, but then a few later variations, they came up with a Victory model. So in 1902 was the second variation, and it had a 4, 5, and 6-inch barrel, and a rounded butt, and then the serial numbers for those were 1 to 20,000, or almost 30,000, basically, or 21,000 almost, and they were obviously all chambered in 38 special, and a lot of them obviously sold to the civilian market at the time. And then what happened is that like by 2 years later, they started making them more with a square butt, like you see here. And those also came in a 4, 5, and 6.5. This is a 4, as you can see. And then there was a fourth change later on, like in 1915, and that had a passive hammer block and enlarged service sights that kind of became standard, which is what you see on this one. But the biggest thing is from 1942 to 1944. They had ones with a prefix of a V, which is what this is. And then that is then known, and those were, these are theoretically the military and police models, but the ones from 1942 to 1944 with these V prefixes, they came to be known as the Victory model. And now, some early ones did not have the V, but pretty much all of them do. And then, they were supplied to a lot of different places like the UK, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, South Africa, and those were under the Lend-Lease program. So you remember how you see like British Lend-Leases? I went over my British Lend-Lease. I had one of those. I think last week is the video that I posted that. And then there's other ones, British Lend-Leases, that are actually chambered in 38-200, and which is already a use that was in the Enfield, and then in some Webleys as well, thus the British caliber. But the ones that were sent to Britain, those usually had a 4 or 5 inch barrel. Mainly, they had for some reason the shorter ones. They're not really sure why. But pretty much anything after 1942 or so, they had actually more standard a 5-inch barrel versus the 4. And my other one actually is a 5-inch barrel. It's a little bit longer than this one. And the other one I have, which I can't remember if I made a video, or maybe I'll just make a video or a comparison. Mine has a lanyard loop on it, and it does have a longer barrel on it as well, but it also is chambered in 38 Smith & Wesson. But some cool things about this too is that there were some 2-inch barrel ones. So the U.S. Army, much later on, for their crew members and female military police, they were given snub nose of these. So they had 2-inch barrels, and they, in like around I think it was like 1944 or so, is when they delivered the first huge batch of those. And then they actually used those in the Air National Guard and other crews, like in Desert Storm and things like that. They ended up using them for security and other personnel up until 1995, which is a long time. And then eventually, when the Beretta switched over, everybody started using the Beretta, but they were still standard issue for certain divisions of the U.S. government and security people for quite a long time, from basically World War II up until 1990, 95, somewhere in there. But it is just a really, really cool revolver, and it's just fun to have a couple of them now. And like I said, I always try to find the ones with original grips. I don't want anybody changing them to the bigger target grips they would use for shooting competitions. But yeah, it's just, if you have one, let me know. If you shoot it, I will make a video of my other one here pretty soon. Or what I'll do is I can make a comparison, because it is a longer barrel one as well. And then you can see it with the loop too. And then I haven't even looked. I'm not sure which one's earlier, which one has the earlier serial number or not. So, but yeah, thanks again for watching, and let me know if you have one.